In the pantheon of political disruptors, few figures can loom as large or cast as long shadow as Donald Trump. His influence, like a stubborn watermark on the political landscape, like a stain on the underpants, cannot be scrubbed away. Whether one views his resurgence as a return of a populist messiah or the ominous harbinger of Western decline, his ability to command global attention is unparalleled. Indeed, every major issue at the moment, from Ukraine and Gaza to Prince Harry's latest memoir, latest revision of his memoir, and the European Union's existential anxieties, seems to be imbued with what one might term Trumpery, and the word Trumpery is about illusion. It's a term dating back to the 15th century. Trumpery is about deception. It's showiness without substance. It's misleading spectacle. It's a definition that encapsulates the entire Trump project. The Trump pageant, after all, is about illusion rather than content. And this makes his second coming less a matter of electoral politics and more a question of regime change. And as a candidate and a governing force, Trump embodies the breakdown of America's post-Cold War order as a president re-emerging from his chrysalis of 4 years in the cold. He offers an ideology that remains inchoate yet disruptive. He's all promise and no produce. He's all talk and no trousers. One doesn't have to look too far to discern the revolutionary atmosphere sweeping the Western world. People are looking for solutions, and they think they're going to find them in Trump. For goodness sake. The Biden administration, for all its centralism, failed to restore the old global consensus. The tectonic plates have shifted, and Trump is unlikely. He's not likely to be the force accelerating transformation towards the good when his loyalists argue that his second term is about a transition or a rupture. They're merely engaging in bluster. They're predicting the end of the liberal international order as we know it, and that in so many ways is not about what Trump can do, or rather more how Trump can surf the reality that it's happening anyway. Trump is trying to take charge of a collapse. He's trying to surf the chaos. And the idea of a permanent American-led unipolar world is nonsensical. America's under Trump is not going to retreat, it's going to recalibrate, shedding its role as an indispensable nation and embracing a new paradigm of transactional statecraft. And I'm not sure that would have happened. I'm not sure that would not have happened under any president who came into the White House. My hunch is that Trump is simply part of the zeitgeist, or part of the he's simply the manifestation of what there already is. In this, Trump is less a creator, not even a catalyst. He's a product. If the first Cold War ended with the triumph of liberal democracy, the second is beginning with its undoing. And critics of America's moral posturing have long pointed to America's hypocrisy, but under Trump, the hypocrisy is abandoned altogether. The Biden administration may have been morally compromised in Gaza, enabling Israeli military action while condemning it in diplomatic forums, but Trump, by contrast, offers an unapologetic vision of realpolitik. His suggestion that Gaza be depopulated and transformed into a luxury resort is not simply a strategy, it's a radical departure from all prior norms of Western diplomacy, common sense and courtesy and civilization. But that's the direction we're going. Trump merely voices what is already that downward slide. It's as if we are hurtling down the Alps in some sort of dismantled cabin. And we've just noticed it. And Trump is sitting at the window looking out. The revisionist nature of the new America extends beyond the Middle East. Trump has previously floated the idea of purchasing Greenland, annexing parts of Canada, renaming the waters around Mexico. It's not enough for his administration to dominate Justin Trudeau. Trudeau is publicly humiliated, reduced to a relic of a bygone era. This extends to Europe as well. The EU, already fraying at the edges, finds itself caught in a Trumpian crisis of identity. It's not Trump that's done that. It's the EU. Trump is merely voicing reality. Should Europe rearm and assert its independence, or should it brace for another 4 years of transactional humiliation? Brace. You can almost hear Kemi Badenoch, can't you? Sort of, brace, it's going to be a disaster. Well, that's not of Trump's making. Wolfgang Streeck, in Taking Back Control, argues that we are living through an interregnum in which the old neoliberal order is dead and no successor has emerged. And the current state is one of disorder, not stability. His analysis echoes Lenin's definition of a revolutionary situation when the lower classes refuse to live in the old way and the upper classes are unable to govern in the old way. Britain, a nation still searching for its post-Brexit identity, provides a microcosm of that disorder, that very disorder. And the Labour government, inheriting a divided and exhausted country, is already beset by crisis. Riots, economic stagnation, mounting social discontent define Keir Starmer's tenure. The ruling class, having embraced globalisation, now finds itself marooned, unable to articulate a coherent national vision. Not Trump's fault. Not actually Keir Starmer's fault. Not, bizarrely, Kemi Badenoch's fault. All of these people are products of the inexorable slide down the mountain. And the electorate flails, toppling governments in search of an alternative that doesn't exist. And people say to me, oh, why are you all so negative about everybody in Parliament? Because there isn't an alternative. It's not about being tribal and saying, well, I don't like the Conservatives, therefore Labour must be better. It's not true. Or I don't like Labour, therefore the Conservatives must be better. Or I don't like either of those two, it must be reform. No. They're all hurtling down that mountain. And the electoral volatility that defined Brexit Britain finds an American analogue in the Trump phenomenon. The Republican Party itself is now a vessel of Trumpery. Its old establishment hollowed out and replaced by a movement that thrives on grievance, on spectacle, on disruption. They might as well be led by Dominic Cummings. Trump's 2024 campaign is as much a declaration of war on the domestic elite as it is on America's traditional allies. And for Europe, Trump presents an existential dilemma. A second Trump turn could mean the end of NATO as we know it, the acceleration of European rearmament, the exposure of the continent's strategic weaknesses. If his first presidency was defined by incoherent diplomacy, the second will likely be marked by deliberate revisionism. Countries from Germany to France must now reckon with the possibility that their historical assumptions about America's role in Europe no longer hold. Trump is both a symptom and a cause of the instability defining our era. How can I say that if Trump has only just arrived? Because we had 4 years of him previously. His appeal lies not in policy specifics, but in the sheer bravado, in the sheer force of his persona. A figure around whom both his supporters and detractors orbit. Whether viewed as a political saviour or a harbinger of democratic decline, his presence alone dominates the global stage in a way that very few politicians can, ensuring that every crisis is measured in relation to his influence. Looking back over history, I can't think of very many other politicians except for Caesar who had this impact. Putin doesn't have the impact. The word Trumpery is apt, not just because it describes deception, but because it captures the essence of our political movement, our political moment. A world where appearances matter more than substance, where reality itself is being bent under the force of spectacle that in itself is already triggered. It's not defining the moment. It's not dictating the moment. It's following the moment. Whether Trump's second term materializes as a positive or a negative, one thing is certain. We are living in the age of Trumpery, where substance is submerged in spectacle, where spectacle follows reality.